Hey, how's it going? So, if you want to make your own films, but you still want to carry on with your full time job, you might be wondering, how do I manage both? Which is what we're going to look at today. One of the biggest struggles for filmmakers is trying to fit making your own films around a full time job. And when I worked 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., 5 days a week, I used to get up at 5 a.m. to work on my own projects. I'd spend a full day at the office whilst working on my own things in my lunch break and coffee breaks. And then I would go home to carry on with my own projects until midnight, 1 a.m. And then I would get up 4 hours later and do it all over again. And I was just doing what everyone else had told me that filmmakers have to do, which is work like crazy until you get your big break. So I burned out pretty quickly, and it took me over 6 months to recover from it. So I'm not here to tell you how to work harder or how to find more hours in the day. I'm here to help you build your career on your own terms so you can start making the projects that you love without burnout or waiting for permission from anyone else. So, before we dive into that, I just want to note that I've added extra slots to my calendar for the rest of the month for assessment calls with filmmakers who are ready to build their career around making the projects that they love, telling stories with impact, whilst getting paid for their time and talent, which is the key. So if that sounds like you can apply for your free 45-minute assessment call at charlotteproducers.com/call. When we get on Zoom together, we're going to uncover what's holding you back, outline your next steps to becoming a successful filmmaker, and go through the one essential that you can implement as soon as possible that will start getting you attention from producers, investors, and other filmmakers as well. So there are extra slots available, but they do tend to get snapped up pretty quickly. So if you go to charlotteproducers.com/call, apply for yours there. The first thing that you have to do to balance your 9 to 5 with making your own films and skip the burnout is to outline your essentials. So that's something we do on our call together, but there are 4 essential tasks if you're a writer, director, or producer or kind of combination of the above. There are going to be 4 things that are really key throughout your week. They're going to be development, networking, marketing, and pitching. So that's really only 4 tasks, and it's already looking pretty manageable to try and fit 4 tasks around everything else that you have going on. So you could do each of these once a week, but they are most effective when you do them consistently every day. And that doesn't mean trying to carve out an extra 4 hours in the day so you have an hour for each task. It's about just making sure you do something small and simple and effective so that you can fit it into your bigger time commitments and still get the impact from them without them draining your time, your energy, your mental health, headspace, all of the above. So I'll break down the specific things you can do for each essential in a minute, but first let's look at how they can fit into an already pretty busy daily routine. So using my old 9 to 6 routine, I'd start my commute at around 8 a.m. and have a solid uninterrupted 45 minutes or so. I could use that time for development, which doesn't have to be pure writing, by the way. It can be generating new ideas, outlining beat sheets, drafting character bios, but we'll come back to all of that. So either way, that's a pretty good development session, and it's done before I get to the office and without me having to get up before the sun does. You could also use that time for online networking if you prefer that. Getting involved in Facebook group conversations, Twitter conversations, replying to Instagram stories, leaving comments, sending emails, replying to LinkedIn messages. Like, all of these are worthwhile ways of networking that don't involve you having to go to an awkward drinks event, and they're also quite quick and easy to do. So whether you can do those networking tasks on your commute is sort of dependent on your internet availability though. Mine was a bit patchy on the overground, so I probably would have stuck to pure development. So during your lunch break, but definitely not taking up your entire lunch break, you can be pitching, networking, or development, and that's going to be 15 to 20 minutes max. So if your lunch break is only half an hour, I'm kind of expecting it to be at least an hour, but if you only have half an hour, then maybe just do 5 or 10 minutes. And again, if it's networking, that can be as simple as sending a message on LinkedIn. Like, it doesn't have to take that long, you know? So then on your commute home, it's exactly the same. You could do more development work, you could do some networking if you can. Maybe you did development in the morning and you do networking in the evening. It's kind of, there's flexibility there. And when you get home, the evening is still yours because you've already done your essentials for the day already. So when you get to weekends, that's when you can kind of save in-person meetings, Zoom calls, networking events, heavy writing sessions, anything that's going to be in person or, longer than 15 minutes. So you can definitely add more into that routine, but that's the lightest option while still covering all of your essentials. And you may have noticed that I've skipped out marketing in that daily routine. And that's really about personal preference. Personally, I could not squeeze in daily marketing. I still can't really. I find it takes me out of whatever I'm doing and tends to interrupt my focus. So instead, I do it on a weekly basis by finding a couple of hours, usually on a Monday morning, to create and schedule all of my marketing content for that week. That way it is done and it's posting automatically for me whilst I'm on a call, doing my other essentials, taking a day off, which does happen now. So within your daily essentials of development, networking, marketing, and pitching, there is a lot of room for variety and choosing what you're feeling like on the day. For me, sometimes emails fill me with dread, other times Instagram stories fill me with dread. So within those 4 areas, you get to pick what you're feeling most interested on the day. So breaking down those 4 essentials into specific tasks, so you have a bit more to get on with, I guess. Development can include generating new ideas. It can also include developing ideas you've already had, so outlining stories, creating beat sheets, building out characters, making pitch materials like treatments and pitch decks, creating mood boards or playlists, as well as writing and editing. Those are all worthwhile and important development tasks that you can be doing on a daily or a weekly basis, depending on what your schedule looks like. And remember, you're only picking one of these each day. So it doesn't mean that in your 45-minute commute, you have to finish a pitch deck each day. No, you just pick one thing and you just do a set amount of time on it per day. So you are always doing something within that essential field of development. Nothing is stagnating or getting left behind, but you're also not draining your energy and heading towards the crazy burnout cycle that I was in, at least. So networking is all about making connections with other filmmakers. So you can do that in whatever way works for you. Facebook groups, Twitter, you can get involved with conversations already happening on those, or start your own conversations. Instagram, you can reply to people's stories, send DMs, leave comments on their posts. You can also, obviously share your own posts and reply to people's comments, reply to people who reply to your stories. You don't need me to explain it to you, but you can also find people that you want to connect with and just send a good old-fashioned email. If social media is not your happy place, then you can just stick to email. All of these are quick, effective, and the key is to go with the ones that you enjoy. So development, tick. Marketing, we're going to come up with. Networking, tick. Marketing can be any form of social media post. So again, it's about finding the way that you enjoy as well as meeting your audience. So if you know that your films will generally appeal to the 35 to 44 demographic, for example, then marketing on TikTok won't be the best option for you as your audience isn't really there. Even if you are new to making your own films, you have to consider who's watching them from the very beginning. And this will be the game changer for a lot of filmmakers post-pandemic. So do pay attention to who your audience is and start consistently marketing to them. Oh, and when we say marketing, we don't really mean self-promo or selfies or anything like that. We mean something that has value to your audience whilst letting them know what you make and what you're working on in order to get them excited about it. So development, tick. Networking, tick. Marketing, tick. Pitching, the last one, can only really come after you've done some heavy networking and have built a connection with the person or people that you want to pitch to. So if you've only just started building your network, you can hold off on pitching for a couple of weeks whilst you nurture those connections first. And like marketing, pitching tends to be misunderstood. It doesn't have to be in a boardroom with a crazy presentation. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be as simple as answering the question, what are you working on right now? with a logline that is so enticing that they're desperate to know more. I call this friendly pitching because the goal is to stay in that casual tone and feel of the conversation while still giving the other person the key information that they're looking for. So mentally, you don't suddenly switch into, I've got to sell them this thing. You just carry on and you say, oh, well, I've got this short drama at the moment. Give them the log line. Say, yeah, we're currently in late development stages. Like, that's super friendly, casual pitching, and you don't switch into like serious selling mode, which tends to put people off. And psychologically, friendly pitching performs a lot better. The psychology of pitching is something we go into a lot of depth to with my one-to-one clients, as well as going through all the materials and the data and the key things that matter for whoever you're pitching to. The psychology behind it is really what will swing it and be the deciding factor. So you could stick to friendly pitching for 3 or 4 days a week, and then send 1 or 2 formal pitches to producers or production companies on other days. You know, that'll be a finished treatment, finished pitch deck. It's a bit more like serious in its tone. Again, it's still not interfering with your other commitments, but it's one of the 4 essentials that makes a huge difference once you start doing them consistently. So to recap, development, networking, marketing, and pitching are the 4 essentials to fit in around your other work. The best part is they're pretty easy to fit into your day, so not only will you be burnout free, you'll also be getting much better results and on your way to your life as a successful filmmaker. Most of the time we tend to find ourselves writing a lot, applying for a lot of jobs that we see on whichever platform it is, occasionally getting involved with a few Facebook group conversations. And the real trick to these 4 essentials is they are the least impact in terms of the amount of time you have to spend on them, whilst getting you the best results. So if you're finding yourself spending hours a week trying to fit in writing, trying to fit in applying for jobs, and you're starting to end up in that burnout cycle like I was, strip it all back, just press pause on the whole situation and look at these 4 essentials, start putting them into your week, and then build from there, okay? So if you're ready to make that shift happen as soon as possible, you can apply for an assessment call at charlotteproduces.com/call, where we're going to outline your next steps and get you started. But for now, I will see you on Zoom next week, in my Facebook group, wherever I see you, basically.